Hello there, and welcome to a programme I've just made up called What's My Team? My name is Frank David, and as a Manchester United fan for over 50 years, I've chosen my all-time United starting 11 who I've painted, and I've had the privilege to see play. I'll be introducing them to you through the medium of portraits that I painted of them. So, without further ado, why don't you just sit back, relax, pour yourself a glass of sherry, and enjoy this episode I've made up called What's My Team? Peter Schmeichel, the Great Dane, and in this instance I'm not describing a breed of dog, I'm talking about a different kind of stupid animal. He's a goalkeeper, and possibly the only animal ever to escape with all his teeth intact after indulging in some ungentlemanly fisticuffs with skipper Roy Keane, after both getting squiffy in a hotel bar, which makes him number one in my book. My number two, no, not that kind of number two, I'm talking of the right-back kind. I've selected know-it-all Gary Neville, who has now long since hung up his football boots to take up football punditry. So now, instead of ramming opponents into touch, he's now ramming his self-opinionated views down everyone's throats, which sometimes sound like a right crock of old, well, you know, that kind of number two. My central defence partnership sees the pairing of Messrs Rio Ferdinand and Jaap Stam. I don't care if Rio looks like Daffy Duck, said the manager of Manchester United, when asked to comment after claims that Mr Ferdinand's facial features resemble those of the Looney Tunes cartoon character. So long as he doesn't duck out of a challenge, he went on to say. Talking of Looney Tunes, Jaap Stam, the big Dutch man, doesn't have the resemblance of a cartoon character, but that of a right hard bastard. Ask this fellow to bring you tulips from Amsterdam, and although he may well do so, you might find them stuck right up your jackset. The left-back position goes to the man who sported a 1970s hairstyle for most of his playing career, and was United's penalty king. Dennis Irwin, this reliable and steadfast fellow, hails from County Cork in the Republic of Ireland. But don't ask this genial gentleman for a corkscrew, unless you're of course a female, you happen to be married to him, and you go by the name of Mrs Irwin. On the right side of midfield, I chose the Cockney wide boy from Daftdale, London, David Beckham, or Golden Balls as some like to call him. However, his balls were more black and blue rather than golden when he was caught by his manager in the dressing room, with his hat gilded at a jaunty angle, his thumbs pulling out his braces, and giving his teammates a rendition of Knees Up Mother Brown. He was quite literally given the boot, one which was kicked by his manager and which caught him square in the old fizz-off, and the other when he was sent out packing to Real Madrid. A jolly good footballer though. Who else could control the centre of midfield like our very own Captain Marvel, or better known as Brian Robson? A tenacious player and a true Manchester United legend. Although later in his career he was blighted by a shoulder injury that would pop out more times than my missus would pop out to the corner shop. I'm just popping out to the corner shop. Can I get you anything? Ah yes, could you get me a quarter of mint humbugs please while you're down there? Thank you, my dear. Sir Robert Charlton, the greatest footballer this country has ever produced. Bobby was the first Englishman to lift the European Cup. You know the European Cup. It's the trophy with handles slightly smaller than Gary Lineker's ears, when United beat Benfica at Wembley in 1968, with Bobby bagging a brace in a 4-1 win. Bobby was also instrumental in England's 1966 World Cup triumph, when beating the Dirty Hun in a thrilling final by 4 sore bottoms to 2. On the left side of this midfield quartet, I've chosen Ryan Giggs. The noisy neighbours thought they were being clever in their youth recruitment policy when they signed Giggs when he was just an embryo in his mother's womb. But as soon as he learned to talk, Giggs' first words were, "This club is Bobby's. I don't want to play for these blue-nosed wannabes. I want to join a club with some class, integrity, and have a long-established history." And so a star was born when he joined Manchester United. The wiry Welsh winger went on to be a true legend and a fan's favourite. You'd have to be stark-staring mental not to include Georgie Boy in any all-time great United side. Best by name and best by nature, this cheeky chappie is revered as one of the greatest players ever to play the game. Best banged 178 goals, and probably twice that many dolly birds at his time at United. I gave up the booze and the women in the late 60s, George once said. It was the worst 20 minutes of my life. A lesson for us all there, I think. And in fact, when I die, and they lay me to rest, I too want to go on the piss with Georgie Best. Question this mercurial Frenchman's parentage, and you're likely to receive a roundhouse that'll probably take your head off. Yes, it's Manchester United's answer to Hong Kong Philly, Eric Cantona. Possibly the most influential of all the Johnny foreigners that have played in the Premier League. He was inspirational in bringing the league trophy back to United for the first time in 27 years, and became the man who usurped Dennis Law's crown as the King of Old Trafford. "Ooh-ah, Cantona" was often heard from myself and the chaps from the Rotary Club, after a sniff of the barman's. This Spanish shot stopper has a face better suited to a regular from one of those bars in a Star Wars movie. But David De Gea is no creature from outer space, but a true United legend. He may have been prone to the odd clanger, and even look like an inhabitant from that small blue planet. But despite a 12-year career in which he was voted United's Player of the Year on 4 occasions, and saving the club more points than I have on my Waitrose loyalty card, United discarded him into the dustbin of life, like a soiled pair of Y-fronts. But this is definitely worth a gracias senor from me, and a place on my all-time great bench. This French fellow's name sounds like he should be playing jazz trumpets in a seedy nightclub in Gay Paris, but au contraire. Patrice Evra is the versatile and adaptable defender that has made the bench as covered for my back four. He may not be no trumpet-playing man, but he certainly gave me the horn. Any United player that gets sent off 4 times for kicking Liverpool players into row Z has to be selected in my all-time great squad. It's rumoured that Nemanja Vidic, this Serbian brick wall, once ate a whole birthday cake presented by his teammates before he realised there was a stripper inside it. But Vidic was and still is regarded as one of the greatest defenders in Premier League history. I usually find fish cakes unpalatable, but when United served up this ginger ninja, it certainly whetted my appetite and put paid to this fish cakery nonsense. Scoring over 150 goals in more than 700 appearances, Scholes just missed out on being in my first team 11 midfield by a Nats knacker, but was just pipped by Charlton and Robson. Zinedine Zidane, one of the greats in modern-day football, was once asked, "What does it feel like to be the best player in the world?" "I don't know," he said. "You'd better ask Paul Scholes. That'll do for me." Don't mention it to Roy Keane that you know his middle name is Maurice, as he might just get medieval on your bottom, as Mr. Keane is not renowned for his sense of humour. This psychotic Irishman, apart from being a bally good footballer, has a reputation for making his feelings well known, and in this portrait I believe I've captured his character, where he can be seen airing his views during a match in which he appears to be saying, "I say, match official, I do believe that you've made a slight faux pas in your assessment, you silly nincompoop." Every day was like a Caribbean carnival day whenever Tobago-born Dwight Yorke played for United. He may have had a set of railings that resemble a wonky line of tombstones in an old cemetery, but Yorke was a key player in guiding United to the treble in 1999. In the 4 years he played for United, he scored 65 goals in 152 appearances, and makes an ideal substitute if he was needed to link up midfield and the forward line. I once met this Flying Dutchman when he was an after-dinner speaker at a charity event given by the Rotary Club. Laughing behind my hand, I cheekily said to him, "Why the long face?" Imagine our amazement when he, in no uncertain terms, suggested that I should go forth and multiply. Needless to say, me and the chaps had the last laugh when I retorted, "Don't be rude, Van Nistelrooy." When is a bin dipper not a bin dipper? Never, I hear you all cry. Except, of course, when one of them becomes the greatest ever goalscorer for Manchester United. Wayne Rooney was just an 18-year-old snot-nose when United persuaded him to ditch his shell suit and come off the dole to join them. And the rest of, they say, is history. And if you don't know what history is, ask your granny. But on second thoughts, you'd better not, as he may have asked her out on a date at one time or another. The man I've chosen to lead this exceptional squad has to be the human hairdryer, Sir Alex Ferguson. Glaswegian-born Fergie began his working life as an apprentice as a toolmaker, and later turned professional as a footballer when he joined Glasgow Rangers. He proved to be crap at both of these trades and moved into management. His greatest achievement in Scottish football was when he led Sunday morning pub side Aberdeen to win the European Cup Winners' Cup. This success alerted United, and in 1986 he was recruited by the club. He went on to be the most successful manager in not only Manchester United's history, but in the history of football, as he holds the record for winning more trophies than any other manager. Well, that concludes this presentation of my substitutes for my all-time great United side. There were many great United players that probably warranted inclusion, and the debate will continue to rage on with me and the chaps from the Rotary Club. And it looks like I've been given my cue to wrap up things, as I can see Sir Alex Ferguson tapping his watch like a demented lunatic. So I hope you've enjoyed these videos. If you wish to see these again, then be so kind as to follow me on my Facebook page at Davies Portraits, and likewise if you'd like to buy one of these original painted portraits, or maybe a limited edition, then you can contact me through my social pages, or my website at www.daviesportraits.co.uk, where you'll not only see these portraits, but many others too. So until next time, which realistically isn't going to happen, thank you for watching and cheerio!